And the winner for the Steam Game Awards for VR Game of the Year 2022 is Hitman 3. How did Hitman 3 win VR Game of the Year for the Steam Game Awards for 2022? That's what I want to know. I have no idea. I do have a theory, and my theory is that a bunch of people who've never played VR, who don't have a VR headset, nominated this game because they love this game in non-VR. And, you know, this is a good game in non-VR. And once it was nominated, obviously this is their favorite game, so they voted for this for VR Game of the Year, even though they've never played VR a day in their lives. And the problem is, this game is a bad VR port. There's no way this should have been nominated, and it definitely should not have won VR Game of the Year for the Steam Game Awards. It made the Steam Game Awards for 2022 a complete joke, and IO Interactive should be very ashamed of themselves. They should have withdrawn their nomination because it is a complete joke. It made the Game Awards a shit show. There's no way this game should have won. This is not a good VR port. It's not a good VR experience. And in fact, it's probably the most disappointing experience in VR from a AAA publisher that I have ever played. And it's very disappointing that this is what IO Interactive put out for their VR port. It's a bad VR port. A lot of the mechanics here are very outdated. And the visuals just look muddy. They just don't look good in VR. A lot of the textures are just, they look muddy. They don't look good in VR. So let me go ahead and show you the options. I'm going to show you guys that I have the graphics set to the highest possible. So I'm on an RTX 3080, and I have NVIDIA DLSS on. I have adaptive super sampling quality set to adaptive super for quality. I have resolution scale set to 1.0. By the way, if you try messing with the NVIDIA control panel to try to optimize this, what you'll get is resolution scale of 0.50. You don't want to do that. So I don't know how to make the resolution scale higher from within the settings, the game settings. This is as high as it'll go. I would love to pump up the resolution scale because this game needs it. Just because, and you'll see this when I show the gameplay. You'll see why I say the resolution scale needs a way to pump it up because it just doesn't look good. So I have VR quality best, level of detail ultra, texture quality high, shadow quality high, atmospheric scattering quality high. So, I have everything set to the very best possible for my RTX 3080, and it should run like a dream on my RTX 30. It doesn't though, because I do have drop frame rates. No matter what I've chosen, I have drop frame rates. So it doesn't matter if I pump it all the way up or not, I still have drop frame rates. And obviously I have VR blinders off. I have turn mode set to smooth, have turn speed set to the highest. I have head-based movement off. So one of the problems with the VR port right off the bat, here you'll see this on the menu. If you try to play some of these experiences in VR, they just don't work. I wanted to play Urban Holiday Special Number 2 since it is the winter holiday season. I wanted to play that in VR. And when I clicked on it, selected play, even though it's all in VR, once I actually clicked play, it stopped working in VR. It went straight to desktop mode. So the game was playing in desktop, and it just doesn't work in VR. You're not told about this. There's no warning. It just turns off. So even here, clicking on this to turn VR off, that's not necessary. If you click on some of these that are not in VR, you're just not going to get VR. So fair warning, several of these experiences that are, time limited or special events or whatever, just don't work in VR. All right, so let's do the prologue. This is basically the tutorial for onboarding new players, and you can see it says, we're going to click on prologue. As you can see, someone says VR. The cinematics are basically what is not in VR. The cinematics are just basically just 2D screens in VR. So let's go ahead and let's just start. Let's play. So you can see for yourself. And you notice the visuals. So I'm going to show off the visuals here. I like this initial scene because it's got kind of an open area. It shows the outdoors. And you'll see that what I mean by muddy. Just the, I mean, I think for this you really need to pump up the resolution scale to really get the most out of this. But you can see the visuals look washed. They look muddy textures. It looks low resolution, and it just doesn't look good, especially at a distance. You can see here the little staircase. It just doesn't look good at a distance. And even up close, you can tell the textures don't look great. The game overall just doesn't really look good. I mean, it looks better in non-VR. That's how sad this game is. Well, you know, obviously visuals are not everything, so as long as the gameplay is great, you know, I would recommend this.
As previous tests have established, you exhibit an unusual level of enhanced sensory perception. Use your instinct now to sense the position and movement of people around you and identify your target.
But no, the VR interactions are so bad that makes the game not very enjoyable. Just approach the gangway. So we've located a target. That's the button press, by the way. And another thing wrong with this game is a lot of the interactions are not very immersive.
As suspected, security won't allow you on board in your current outfit.
A lot of the interactions are just button presses. Like, you don't really vault this. So you can see vault. It's just a button press. So you press A. There you go. You didn't really vault anything. You just press A. Okay, alright. Okay, fine.
That mechanic is in your way. Sneak up and subdue him quietly.
Now, I'm going to do this the way the game wants, and hopefully it works. This one usually works. It's when I try to... Let me show you the inventory. So here's your inventory. You just scroll through it with your joystick, and then you press a button to select it. Again, the inventory is not very good, and it's not very immersive. It's a very bad inventory system. Very outdated. So, again, we're going to walk behind him, and then once you see that little animation there, that's when you can actually just start choking. All you do really is press the left and right trigger, and that's it. So that was it. It was really a button push.
You put on his clothes. That's a first. Might just work though. People do tend to see uniforms, not.
And again, you open doors by pressing a button.
Some people are more.
You put people in hiding places by pressing a button. Oh, come on. Yes, I want to conceal the body. Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
Before you move on, I suggest you hide your tracks. You have a much greater chance of success if your actions go undetected. The toilet should do the trick.
What? The toilet? I don't know why this is not working. This is not working, guys. I have no idea why. I should be able to conceal the body in the locker. It's not working. So you can hide in here. Okay. Now I leave. Okay. I should be able to conceal. Yeah, it's not. Okay. I've been able to conceal the body here. Oh, here it is. Oh, nope. It's just not working, guys. Okay, well. Okay, it's just not working, so we're gonna forget about it. So, by the way, you're supposed to be able to stash the body in the locker. And then it says to save and load. Again, these are all button presses. Most games have like a locker to make it easy in VR. Have like a little laser coming out of your motion controllers to make it easy in VR. But as you can see, this is not that. It's just basically your joystick. You're moving it along. It's not even being highlighted properly. So.
Uniform should get you access through the staff entrance. Just act normal.
Hello, sir. Are you doing all right?
Hold on. That mechanic with his back turned, he's what we call an enforcer. He knows his crew and he'll see right through your disguise, so stay out of his line of sight.
Yo, criminal right behind you. Alright, we're good.
Now for the tricky part. Start by locating your target. Intel suggests he's around the bar area.
Move out of my way. Move out of my way. Move out of my way.
Don't waste any time, do you?
I'm a super spy. I'm a super spy. Move out of my way. Move out of my way. So, there he is.
I'll be upstairs. When Mr. Norfolk arrives, fix him a drink and have Bert take him to see.
Not suspicious at all.
I'll keep an eye.
That is your target, Mr. Ritter. Unfortunately, the place is crawling with witnesses. I suggest you follow him. See if you can't isolate him.
Hey, big guy, get cracking.
All right, you two.
Yeah, sorry, man. No
He
mechanics through here.
expected.
What?
Richard's private deck is off limits for mechanics. If assimilation is the name of your game, you'll need a better disguise.
Okay. So again, we're not actually opening doors. We're just pushing a button. These are very outdated VR mechanics. We kind of expect better. I mean, opening doors should not be something that tricky anymore. And again, the throwing mechanic here, not immersive at all. The throwing mechanic is pretty... What you do is you grab onto it, right grip. You press left trigger, so my offhand, left trigger. And then you just make any kind of throwing motion, doesn't matter. Uh-oh.
Hey, buddy.
They said it didn't matter. That should have worked. I'm not sure exactly why it didn't work.
Well, that's gonna leave a mark. Good
So
thing
maybe
we're
not
first.
any throwing motion, but you get my drift. Instead of making it immersive by actually making you just do the throwing
Unlike
motion.
mechanics, the cabin
Okay, there we
crew
go.
is
We
upstairs
dumped it in
upstairs.
there. Okay.
I see what you're getting at. Very unorthodox.
So instead of just throwing the wrench like that, and you see what happens if you try to throw it. You see the throwing mechanic is just pretty bad. That's why they have you aim with your left trigger. Alright, so this is our inventory system, by the way. It's pretty bad as well. So again, outdated inventory system, very bad inventory system, very outdated throwing mechanic. Opening doors, not interactive. The visuals look very muddy graphics. It just doesn't look good in VR. I mean, graphics should pop in VR. It should be a visual candy to be playing this game in VR, but it is not. It's the opposite of VR candy. It's very disappointing. I would say the graphics look better in non-VR, and that should never be the case.
The target's private deck. Now we're getting somewhere. But according to Intel, Ritter is another enforcer who picks his own cabin crew.
I could
So
have
tread
sworn it was
carefully.
stolen from the Stuyvesant's private collection in Boston.
No one broke into you. Swear to God.
Hey, what's up?
I think technology hates me.
Here is a
The
missed
target will fight
opportunity.
you if you get too close. To eavesdrop on his conversation, try and find a way to blend in.
So we're gonna play as a bartender, which this should be great in VR. In VR you can actually pick up the glasses, pour one. Since you have actual VR hands, this would be a great interaction in VR. But look what they do here. You cannot move. You don't even have your hands here. All you can do really is look and listen. That's it. There is no interaction you can do. You cannot move.
Good of you to fly down.
You're basically in one position. You cannot move. Your motion controller hands are out of the way. You can't do anything with them. You can't serve drinks. You can't role play. This is a total missed
I just had the
opportunity here for the VR port. Should really be something special. This makes it worse than playing the non-VR version.
Drink. Anyway, sounds like Ritter is about to have a private meeting with the gentleman in white. This could be useful.
You're going to be invincible, Maureen. Hello there. This merger couldn't come at a more opportune time. The world's biggest video rental chain and its largest music retailer together at last.
And obviously we cannot go in there.
Clearly, Ritter doesn't want to be disturbed. Try sneaking around the back.
Not this way, though. Turn around. Get going. Say hello to Gopher and I. And Jewel. So,
Alright. Again, button pressed.
people get what they pay for, Mr. Norfolk.
You don't even grab the vault and go over it now. It's just a button press. Now you can. This is a button crouch.
Unusual scene
Button
in
crouch.
technology. Most of my clients are art collectors. So what is it anyway? Some type of reactor?
That's your target.
Well, not just a reactor, Mr. Ritter. It's more of
You're
a
on the right
revolution.
track. Stay put.
50 years ahead of its time, maybe even more, maybe 75.
is your chance. Use
So-
your silent pistol or the client will notice.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get our silence pistol again. Very horrible inventory system here.
Just
So-
a moment.
We're gonna manually aim like this, but we're gonna do a good job here. We're gonna go for the, and that should have been a headshot.
Someone please help! He's chasing me!
Wait, this guy's still alive?
That was not your target. Your target is down. Now head calmly towards an exit.
Now I'm gonna show something here. And the reason I went into this room is because this is my silenced pistol, and I'm gonna try to stow it. I want to put it back in the inventory. Did y'all see that? It fired. I did not push the trigger. In fact, my trigger finger is way off the trigger button because I don't want it to accidentally fire. And you see that it's firing. What I'm actually trying to do is put the gun. Okay, finally. So it wasted all my ammo. And if someone sees me, it could actually alert them. If it wasn't silenced, they would hear the bullets. So that's basically a broken gameplay mechanic. This makes the mission a lot harder because you're trying to stow your weapon, but instead it's firing, which can cause anyone near you to be alerted and make you fail the mission. And again, just all these mechanics, you know, picking up the bodies, all super clunky. Again, all outdated mechanics here. There's nothing immersive about this at all. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now we can just walk away. Again, button push. And actually we can just go out the front. We don't need to sneak out the window. You're fired. You're a bad security guard. So we're not gonna. Right now, you can just walk off the boat and finish the mission.
Car marks your exfiltration point.
Hey guys, did you see anything suspicious out there? Heard any noises? Seen anything suspicious?
Mr. Ritter's stealing their Picassos and shit. Jeez, keep your
I guess not. I guess not.
don't mind us.
Hey ladies, how you doing? Alright, so just to close up though, I'm going to try to use the fiber wire. Because I do find that one to also be problematic as far as using. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use the... Hello? So I'm going to get it from my inventory again. Ugly inventory system. So I have it in my hand. And we're going to go to the restroom here. I'm going to open.
Hey, it's not like I'm antisocial. I just don't like you. Please leave. No way. Oh my god!
Uh-oh. So we're just going to walk away. Again, the fiber wire should have worked there. I hit it right up on his neck, but in my experience, it probably works about a third of the time, maybe. It's just very unreliable. And it makes me not want to use the fiber wire ever. Ideally, you want to get directly behind and get like your hands basically right up on their neck before trying it. Otherwise, it's just too difficult to use. And there you go, the end of the mission.
Advanced mission training complete.
So,
May I say,
the
everyone
graphics
initiates
are not good.
I look forward
And
to
this
your
is the best I can get it to look. Obviously, I like to pump up the resolution scale to make it look sharper. I think that's what it needs. It needs a sharper resolution to make the game look good in VR. But the most I can get it to do is 1.0 resolution scale, and it just doesn't look good at 1.0 resolution scale
Welcome back.
from within the game.
As an IC
We're going to skip through all that because we don't need to see any of that. Okay. Okay. This is the freeform mode where you can do whatever you want, but I'm just going to end the video here. You saw several other problems, including the fiber wire. It's just so finicky. Like, you have to get it just at the right spot, otherwise it won't work. A lot of the VR interactions are outdated. You saw opening doors as a push button versus, actually just grabbing the door handle and pulling on it. That doesn't work. It's a button push. Throwing, a button push. You gotta aim with your left trick, aim with your offhand, and then just do a throwing motion, and it'll just automatically hit. Instead of relying on you to actually, have some accuracy with your throw, which would be the most immersive. So the throwing is bad in this game. A lot of and you saw the gun. I don't know if you saw it, but I had the sight right on his head, and it just completely missed. So the gun sights are off. Aiming down sights is not accurate. So overall, this is a very poor VR port with just very outdated VR mechanics. And so it's just not a good VR port. This definitely should not win VR Game of the Year. It's not a good VR experience. Like I said, this is one of the few games that I'd rather play in non-VR than play it in VR. That's how bad the VR port is. I would have preferred if IO Interactive had just made the VR port just for the 3D visuals, and just let us not use motion controllers. Forget the motion controllers, forget the room scale. Just use gamepad or use keyboard and mouse in VR, and that would have been a much better experience than this poor VR port. When you have motion controllers, you have to make the interaction smooth and polished. There are some expectations from the players when you have motion controls. That when you see a door, they're going to reach out and you'll pull the handle. That when you throw, you're actually going to be throwing objects, not aiming with your offhand. That when you get behind them to choke them out, that you're actually going to be doing that motion versus whatever they want you to do, which is basically it's just push left trigger and right trigger and just get in the right spot, and that's how it works. So and like I said, even when you're playing like a bartender and you're in disguise, you can't even roleplay it. You can't even move. Your VR hands just are not even shown. So this game overall is just a disappointment in VR. And like I said, it's the biggest disappointment in VR that I've had from a major AAA publisher. Out of all the VR ports, this is the worst. If you're talking about Doom VFR, if you're talking about Fallout 4 VR, if you're talking about Skyrim VR, just any port that you can think of that has a VR port in it from a major publisher, this is by far, bar none, the worst one. And it should not win Game of the Year for any year of VR. This shouldn't have won back in 2017. It definitely shouldn't win in 2022. This is just a lazy VR port, and it deserves nothing but ridicule. Hopefully IO Interactive is ashamed of themselves after winning VR Game of the Year, and this is the product that they deliver. It's bad, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And Valve, Steam should be ashamed of themselves as well. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my video on the Steam Game Awards VR Game of the Year 2022 Hitman 3. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.